Hello, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our second class in the third week of our design bootcamp. So, in the first class, we discussed about flyers, posters, banners, and stationaries, where we differentiated between all of them, and then we also went ahead to design a flyer from a brief that was given by a client. So in today's class we shall be working on a banner design, and also I would like to introduce you guys to the concept of mock-ups. So what are mock-ups? So mock-ups are more like a realistic visual representation of a product that you have designed. Right? That means how that product appears in real life. So let's say you design a logo, you design a banner or any stationery. Before you print it, you would like to see how it appears in real life, right? So those elements you use are called mock-ups. So I have a few examples of mock-ups here. Yeah, like this is an example of mock-up. All the things you see on the screen here are not printed, rather they are just done on a computer to see how this particular logo that has been designed by the designer will fit into these stationaries. So using mock-up is very important. It's going to show you how your design is going to look after printing, right? So it is important for you to understand mock-ups and how to use them. So normally mock-ups can be created by designers and also photographers. There are 3D designers that design mock-ups. So they use 3D softwares to design templates for mock-up, which is then converted into a Photoshop file, which you can edit and then insert your design. And then there are also photographers or designers that use photography to design mock-ups. That means they snap a picture of, let's say, a building or a product they want to use, and then they manipulate it and insert their own design to see how it fits in, right? So all these are forms of mock-up. So in today's class, after we finish designing our banner, we are going to insert it into a mock-up, and then you are going to see practically how to design and use mock-ups. So this is another example of mock-up. This one, I guess it was designed on a 3D software, meaning it was not real. This is not a photograph. It was designed on a 3D software, or you can see the design printed on it, and then you can find the Photoshop version of this mock-up where you can change the design, change the color of the back, everything to just suit your design, so that you see how it looks in the end. We also have another example here. This is also a mock-up for a logo, right? And then this is a 3D mock-up for a logo. So this normally gets mistaken by a lot of people. You see some people asking designers to design 3D logos for them, and then you see designers going ahead to just create something basic, and then they use this mock-up and then they present it to their client as 3D mock-up. Or sometimes you might see clients bringing this as a sample for you. They will say they want a 3D logo and then they want it like this. So this is not a 3D logo, this is a mock-up. So you guys have to be aware and you have to be very careful. And this is another example of a mock-up. See, this one could be a photography. It might be an office that was snapped by a photographer, and then he decided to use Photoshop to manipulate, and then you can see he has inserted his design here to see how the design would look in real life if it's printed. Also have this 3D mock-up, which is very popular. So you see a lot of graphic designers giving this to their clients as a logo. This is not a logo. Supposing you give this to your client as a logo, and then he wants to use it on his, let's say, letterhead, how do you expect him to use this as a logo on his letterhead? So you should clearly understand the difference between a logo mock-up and an actual logo, right? So I think we'll just go ahead and start designing our banner, and then we use a 3D mock-up in the end, and then you see how our design relates to the mock-up we have decided to use. So the banner we are going to be designing today is actually for a commercial, right? It's for my brand actually. Well, it's an old design, but then I would like to use it as a reference to teach you guys about flyer design. So like I said, flyer contain few text, and then you see image or images and illustrations. So and I told you that since it is going to be printed, right, it is going to be printed on a flex as a banner. So the color mode you are going to use for your design is not RGB, you are going to use CMYK, right? So we are going to use CMYK as our color mode. And then for the dimension of the design, I would like my flyer to be 25 feet by 12 feet. So we don't have a unit for feet here. So if you want to use feet, maybe you just go to the internet and then you convert 25 feet into any of these measurements, and then you can use. But then 25 feet is a very large banner. So if you insert the exact measurement in your Photoshop, it's going to create a very big and heavy file, and as a result, if you don't have a very strong system, your design will be lagging, right? Your software, your laptop will run very slow. So just for demonstration purpose, I'm not going to use exact measurement. I'm going to use pixels. But then since I said my banner is going to be 25 by 12 feet, I'm going to use 2500 by 12,000. You see, I'm still maintaining the proportion because I don't want my file to be very large. So this is 25 by 12. So I'll hit on create, and then as you can see, sorry, let me create that again. Yeah, it's on okay. So this is going to be our design. So the idea I have for this banner is for like I said, for an advert or for a promotion for my brand. So basically what I do is rebranding or branding businesses. I mean, it's creating logo, flyers, and all sort of design files for my clients. So the idea I want to use is I want to use pictures of cars, right? Like an old car being transformed into a new car. It's going to be eye-catching, and when you place this sort of banner on the street, right, you are going to like catch the mind of anyone who is passing by, right? So I downloaded some resources which I'm going to use in the design. So we have them here. I downloaded some old cars like this one and this one, and then I downloaded new cars, this one and this one. So I think I'm actually going to work with this and this, because they look like they will give me the result I want. So first of all, I would like to open up this picture in my Photoshop. So I will right click and open with Photoshop. Can see the system is a bit slow, but we have to be patient. It's going to open. Yeah, so this is the car. I would like to first of all remove the background. Yeah, so I will unlock this layer by double clicking. So this layer has been unlocked, and I would also like to use the magic wand tool. So when I just click, you can see it has selected the background for me already, except if I have any other adjustment. Like I'll zoom in, yeah, somewhere like this. I would like to correct this, so I will use my polygonal lasso tool, and then I'll click like this, right? So I guess that's all. This is cool. I'll select my magic tool once again, and then I'd like to select this place. You can see the resolution of my image is a little bit low, and then there are sites you can use to get high definition images, that is HD images, but I think this will just work just fine for this tutorial. So I've selected my background. The next thing I would like to do is just to hit on backspace or delete on my keyboard, and it's going to remove the background for me. I believe by now you all know how to remove backgrounds, and we've shown you in the previous videos a lot of methods you can follow to remove your background. So yeah, I've deleted my background, so I will just deselect by pressing Ctrl D. So I have my car right here. I'll just drag it and I'll bring it into my design like this, and then I want it to the front of the car to face the other way. So I will just click, and then I will right click and I will say flip horizontal. You can see it has mirrored the image to make it look the other side, right? So think something like this. Yeah, so I would like to bring the other car, that's the new car, open with Photoshop. So I will do the same thing here. I'm going to remove the background. First I will unlock it. The reason why I unlock it before removing the background is, let me show you why. If you just go ahead without unlocking the background, and then you selected what you want to delete, when you hit on your delete key, you can see it's going to show you something else. It's not going to work. But then when you unlock this layer just by double tapping here, clicking OK, you can see that the padlock is gone. And then now when you hit on delete, you can see that it has deleted the background for us. Yeah, I also like to remove this. I all the shadows too. I would like to delete them, so I'll hit on backspace once again. Like to delete this, so I'll just select it manually. Delete. So I deselect, and then I can carry it and then bring it to my design right here. So the idea is just to have half of the old car's body and then half of the new car, so it will look as if we are transforming this old car into this brand new car, right? So let me put this right here, and then I would like to bring some rulers or grid lines that are going to help me work with the exact proportion I want. So you, by just clicking here on this ruler, if you can't find your ruler, you go to Windows, so you go to View, and then you see rulers. You click on it. The shortcut is Ctrl R. So I'm just going to click and drag. So I'll place the first ruler here, and then the second one here. So I want to have half of this car somewhere around here. I'll take off this part and then I'll replace it with this part. So I'll scale this one up by transforming it using the transform tool. So let's see, something like this. So I would like to take off half of this car, so I'll select my polygonal lasso tool, and then I'll come in, something like this. So I'm selecting this part where I'm deleting. You can see I have it selected nicely. I'll give it a little feather, let's say 2. Hit on OK, then I'll just delete. Then I'll deselect by using Ctrl D, and then I'll move it in. See how it fits. You can see it's already fitting in. Yeah, and then I would like to remove the other half of the first car, the old car. So I'll click on the old car, and then I'll go to my polygonal lasso tool once again, and then I'll just try to select like this. So I'll feather it too, and then I'll delete. So you can see you have half of this car and half of this one. So something like this. Then I'm going to push this a little bit up by holding shift. Yeah, so I'm going to have something like this, right? I can zoom in so I can have perfect alignment. So so that's just it. You can see this old car turning into a new car, right? Yeah. And then for my background, I have my brand colors. These are my brand colors. This shade of yellow, orange, and then this color. So I already have them here. I'll give you the color codes if you want. So I'll change the background color to solid color. Yeah, so this is the color, this is this color, and then this is the color code. So you can copy this and then you type exactly what you see here, and then you get this same color. So that is that. But yes, I'll use the yellow color, which is this. Yeah, so same thing for the yellow color. When I double click here, you can see the color code, so you can copy it, FCC 617. So you can copy it and paste exactly to give you the same color. So then you can see that this doesn't really make sense for the backgrounds here. We need to like work on them. So I will start with this one, select the car, and then I'll select using the magic wand tool. I'll select this place, I'll select this one too, and then I'll feather it, give it a feather of 3 or 2 to still do. So I hit on OK. So sorry, let's feather it at 1. So you just right click and you say layer via copy, sorry, layer via cut. That means it's going to separate these places I've selected from the rest of the car. So when I say layer via copy, layer via cut, so you can see it has created a new layer. So you see this is the old car. Let me rename it old car, and then this is the window we just selected. We can call it old car window, right? Yeah, so if I hide it, you can see it, right? Yeah, but I don't want it completely gone like this. I just want to play with it a little bit so that you still give us the sense of the glass being there. So I'll just come to this blending mode, and then I'll just go through them. Let me see. So I think this color will do. Then I will reduce the opacity or the fill. Let me reduce the fill. Reduce it to 50. Yeah, 50. Okay, 47 is cool. And I'll select the new car too, and then this time around I will use I won't use the magic one. I'll use polygonal lasso tool because I would like to make the selections myself. So I will just go, you can use the pen tool also, you can just go around here. So I will select the window. You can see that there is a steering, but I'm not going to select it too. So I've selected the window. I will feather it to 1 is okay, and then I will right click and say layer via cut, right? So I have another layer. So this new car, and then this is the new car window. So I will also change the blending mode to lighting. I think lighting works for this one, and I will reduce it, the fill, down to 47 too. Yeah, so you can see we still have our window. So would like to select all the layers. I will lock the color layer, and then I will select all the other layers. From this one, I'll just hold shift and then I'll select the first one. So I'm going to group them, Ctrl G, or you can just drag them to this place, and then you release your mouse to create this for you, right? So you just let me rename it to car. So you can see we have our car. You can also give your layers color, so they will be easy to identify. When you right click, you will see colors here, right? So just select any of these colors. Let me use red, so you can see it here. So so we've grouped them, and then when you want to move, let's say you want to move them, when you click like this, you see it's not selecting the group, it's selecting only this new car. So what you need to do is you go up here, you see the selection is on layer, so it will only select the layer you click. If you want to select the whole group, you change this to group. So now if I click, you can see I'm carrying the whole group. So I like to have that scale down, then I will rotate it a bit. Yeah, something like this. So you can see we have a new car turned into an old car turned into a new car, right? So I downloaded this. I'm not sure I'm going to use them. Let me see if they are going to give me the result I want. So I'll drag it down wanted to put it, well, never mind. So I think this is okay, but I would like to create a reflection. You know, one thing with this thing is it doesn't have to be 100% realistic. Everyone knows that this car doesn't exist and this is not real, right? They are just trying to pass a message. Yeah. So I'll select this group and then I'm going to duplicate it. You can use Ctrl J on your keyboard, or you just click on the folder here and you drag it to this place, so you have it duplicated. And then I'm going to rotate it. You hold shift. When you come here, you will see this arrow, then you hold shift, then you can click, and then you can see it being rotated, right? Then you hit on OK, and then I want to mirror it, so I'll right click, and then I will say flip horizontal, so you can see it. It's just like a mirror, right? And I'll drag it down like this. Yeah, and then I'm going to reduce the opacity down to 13, and the blending mode, I think, let me see, hard light, and the opacity I'll increase it something around here, 26. So I can take off these grid lines now. You just click them and then you bring them here, they disappear. Same thing with this one too, and same thing with this one, right? So you can see we have our car and then this. So I'll select both groups and then like to move it around here. Yeah. So now I'm going to insert my text. So for the text, what I plan on writing is, are you thinking about branding or rebranding? So once I just put that as a big header here, then I will write the list of things I do: logo design, business card, and the rest. So once someone is passing and then he sees this image and then he reads the caption, he will quickly understand what this brand is all about. So So I will select my text, so it's loading. So I'll click and then I will change the color. Yeah, so I'm going to write thinking about, like this, and I'll move it, transform it, and I'll duplicate it, and I'll change the text to branding rebranding, right? So I'm going to select this, I'm going to make it very big, something like this, right? And then I want to align it to the center, so you just hit on Ctrl A, and then you can see that you just click here, it will align it horizontally to the center. So we have that. So I want to put all here, so I would like to use my shape rectangle, so I'll just create something like this. And I would like it to be white, I think something white. Yeah, so that's so I'll type or, right, and I'm going to zoom in, I'm going to move it here, let's place it somewhere here. So I have that. Also like a big question mark here. Okay, I'll just put that later. But then this rebranding, right, I would like to change the color of this RE so that I'll create a little bit of contrast between the branding and rebranding, because there are two different things. Branding is when you're building the brand from scratch, and then rebranding is when they already have an existing brand identity, but then they want to update it or modernize it. So I would like, after selecting it, just go to my color swatch, hit on white. I think that works. I'll increase a space here. I think I'm going to move it a little bit because I'll need to introduce my question mark here, and then this or and this rectangle, I will select them and then I will group them too. Yeah, I'll just name it or, right, and I'll shift it like this, and then I'll introduce my question mark. Make it a little bit big. I'll need to like select all of these, move them a little bit, and then I can move this in a little bit inside too. So maybe I would like to select everything here and then I'll move it up, right? And then let me just copy this and write we've got you covered, got you covered. Right, let me select everything and then I'll hold alt, right? And I'm going to like scale everything down from the center like this. So the next thing I would like to do is select my car and the shadow, also hold alt, and then I'll click and make it a little bit smaller on OK. So I would like to introduce a rectangle here. I don't want it to be exactly white, so I'll click from here and then I'll just something like this works for me. So I'm going to write all the things I do here so that you can see them. Now I'll write a few of them. So let's say logo, I'll give double space, business card, business card, let's say ID card. I'm just using this as examples, right? So flyers, posters, and I'll just say and general design services. I think it will cover everything, right? So I'm going to select everything and I'll put it here. Maybe I'll scale it down a little bit so that I'll increase the spaces between them, because I want to use bullets or points, right? So I think this works. Control A, and then I'll align it to the center, then I'll zoom in a little bit, and then I'll select my ellipse, I'll hold shift, so I'll draw a little ellipse. I'll change the color to this color. So have it here. I'll just duplicate it, Ctrl J, and then I'll move it using my keyboard here. Duplicate this one too, move it here, and I think I'm done. So I think the last thing I will need to do is maybe I need to add my contacts, right? So I'll move this a little bit up so that I'll create another rectangle here. I don't want it to cover my maybe maybe I'll just take it down so that my reflection, the car's reflection, will still be. So I'll take it below the layer that has the car reflection. Now it's this car copy. So I'll just drop it right below it, so you can see that it's still there somehow, right? I don't know if that works. Let me see. I think I like this a little bit, right? So I would just like to I don't know, this works like this. Let me select both layers. Okay, I think I'll drop it here, and then I'll increase the size a little bit so that I can have my phone numbers here, right? So I'll just copy any of this. So I'll write my phone number. Okay, maybe I'll say 08062385867. I'll change this font. I want something that will be very like legible. For letters or for alphabet, I think it's very okay, but for these numbers, I think it's a little bit stylish, and I don't want that. I'll just use any font you have that is very simple and legible. So I'll give it white color. Maybe I'll just drop it here. Then maybe I would like to add my social media handles, so I'll just add that. Maybe my Facebook. I'm just using this as an example, it might not be exactly my handle names. So MSG graphics, like this, right? I'll scale it to bit, and I would like to maybe insert some social media icons here, maybe Twitter, Facebook, and the rest. So I told you can download them from the internet, right, from Google as JPEGs, or you can use the app I told you guys in our, I think, second class. I told you guys there is a software called Pycon which has a lot of icons. So I'm going to open it, so that I'll just select my icons from there. So it might take a little bit of time to open, so while we wait, let's just see how our design looks. So I think this is pretty much okay. You can see we don't have much of text, and then we have these beautiful illustrations. There is more you can do with this illustration. You can add shadows to this car. Okay, let's see if we can do that. Just select a rounded rectangle, or I will use an ellipse, right? So let's say we have this car's shadow on the right like this. I'll give it black, yeah, go to my filter, blur, and then I will select this Gaussian blur to ask you to convert it to a smart object or rasterize. You can do either one. So I'm going to rasterize, so you can see it's applying the shadow. You can reduce and increase, and see we have that, something like this. Then I'll also take it down below the car layer, so that, yeah. And I also like to reduce the opacity, I think, and then I'll stretch it out a little bit. So you can see that there is a lot you can do. So I think our Python has open. So all I need to do is, maybe I want the Facebook logo. I'll just click and then I'll drag it into my Photoshop, right? And then I'll release it. You can see it's here. Just need to resize it, and then I'll hit on OK or enter on my keyboard. And I'll keep it here. And I'll also get the Twitter. I'll click it and drag, right? So I want it here, so I'll resize it. Can zoom in, so I'll resize it perfectly. So we have it right. If you want something a little bit fancy, you can add a background to it, maybe just something like this, and then you give it a rounded corner. So we just increase the rounded corner, right? Then we change the color to this color. We just select it from our swatch, then you bring it down. Yeah, so I guess we have that. If you like, you can change the color of the logos, so it will not look like you have a lot of colors in your design, right? So if you want to change the color of this Twitter, you just double click somewhere around here, or you right click and say blending options. So this color overlay, you select it, click it here, and then you change the color to white, hit on OK, hit on OK. You can see it's white now. Or I don't want it to be white, I'll change the color, so I'll go back, change the color. So I think this works better. Same thing for the Facebook logo. But if I change it, you know, you can copy this layer style we applied here and just paste it here like this. You just right click and you say copy layer style, and then you select the Facebook, and then you right click and say paste layer style. But you see it's going to like cover everything together with the F, so you cannot see it. So I'll undo that. First of all, select my magic wand, then I'll click on the F, and then I'll delete it. But first of all, I need to rasterize the layer. If not, I won't be able to delete. Typical example, let me show you. If I hit on delete, you can see, it can tell you it could not complete your request because the smart object is not directly editable. But when you right click and then you rasterize, so now you can hit on delete, and then you can see it has deleted the white part of Facebook logo. So you can right click now and then you paste the layer style. So you can see you have it nicely done. So maybe that's all you want. If you want any other thing with your flyer, I mean, you can do anything, right? So maybe I'll add a little bit text here. I'll say call us or contact us. So just copy this layer and I'll say call us, right? And then I'll change the color to like this works, and I'll just use contact us, right? To just it will work better, contact us. So you align it nicely. So I think that will be all, except for my background. This color, I would like it to be instead of a solid color, I would like it to be a gradient. So I'll unlock, so I'll just double click here, or I'll just click here and apply a gradient, right? So I'll delete this one after. So let's create a gradient. Right click, a basic gradient. So you select the first one and then you change the colors. You click the first color to be this color, right? So the second color, when you double click, you still select the same color, but then this time I want it to be a little bit darker. So I will come here, I will come down a little bit, and then I'll come a little bit down, done. Okay, right? So you can see we have two different shades of the same color. And then the style, I don't want it to be linear, maybe reflected. And then I'll increase the scale, or I'll use radial. Yeah, I use radial. Let me reduce back the scale. Yeah, I think radial works for me. Think works like this. And except maybe you want to give your text a little bit of style, you can just select it, right click, and then go to your blending options. So let me zoom out, drag. So you see here there are a lot of things you can do to your text. You can drop shadow, you can see I don't really need that. You can add a bevel and emboss. When you click it, you see, let me zoom in so that you see what it does. You can see the difference between this and this, right? So so there are a lot of things you can do with your text. When you enter the blending options, you can add contours, add inner shadows, you can see. So you can do a lot of things from here. So I'll just leave this like this. I'm just showing you this. You can explore a little bit more in your free time. So I would like to apply the same effects I did to this one on this. So I'll just copy, right click, and you copy the layer style. Then you select the question mark, right click, and then you paste your layer style. So I think this is my banner. I will like to have it like this, printed and pasted anywhere, right? So there are a lot of ways you can play around with the layout. You can just decide to have the image here, and then all these text you arrange them here. Remember our principles and elements of design, right? If maybe you want to create a kind of symmetric balance, so you just have the image here, all this place will be the image, and then all these writings you decide to align them here. You can see you're having a kind of balance, but this still works for me. So think I'm pretty much done. So if you like, you can just decide to save it as a picture, and then you take it into your mock-up and then you work with it. But then what I want to do now is I'll just open up the mock-up file. This is it, free roadside city billboard mock-up. So I'll open it. This is the PSD file. This is the license file. You can read it if you want to. So I'll just open up the Photoshop file, and then I will show you how a mock-up works. So this is our mock-up. So you can just delete this layer. It's just to show you where the mock-up was downloaded from. See it here. So I'll just delete it. So this is our mock-up. You can see this is a picture actually that was snapped and then it was manipulated to form a mock-up. So you can see this is the design where you are going to insert your design, and then this is the background. Let me just toggle it on and off, and then you see what I mean. You can see if I off the background layer, you can see, and then when I switch it on, so you can see what a mock-up means. If I open the design, you see a lot of layers, right? So you can see this one that has something like clipping, what do you call it, smart object. Yeah, when you see a little bit box here like this, it means it's a smart object, and when you double click it, it's going to open the file for you in a separate PSD file. So when I double click here, this is where you're going to insert your billboard design that you have done. So when I double click here, you can see it has opened up the design for me in a new PSD. This is the original mock-up file, and then this is the new layer that has opened up. So all you need to do is bring your design, if you have saved it as an image, and then you paste it here, and then when you close, it is going to reflect here. So let's go back to our design. This is our design. I have not saved it as a JPEG, but if I want to like create a quick, I will just merge everything. You can just go to your keyboard and say Control Alt, or you say Control Alt E. So you are going to say Shift Control Alt E. So it's going to create a new layer at the top, right, that has everything just like an image. See it. So I repeat, you are going to, let me delete it. So you just come to the first layer, and then you hit on Shift Control Alt and E. So you can see to create this layer for you. So you can just click it, right, and then you take it. I think I opened a lot of layers, so I cannot find it. Just since I'm done with these ones, I can just close them here. Just close this one too. So when I go back to my design, this is it. Just need to click and drag it here, and then you just come here and paste. So you can see it. If it does not fit the design, you can just adjust. Hold shift, and then you hit on enter. So now when I just close this, once you've done this, you can delete this other background, you can leave it, then you just close. It will ask you save changes made to this Photoshop file. You just say yes, it will close it. So once it closes this, when you go back to your mock-up, this one, you can see that it has applied my mock-up. So it's telling me that if I print this particular design, this is how it's going to look. If I want to paste it, before I print it, or before I go to place it where I want to place it, it's showing me a preview. Like, so this is what a mock-up does. So you see, you can save this and then share it with your client or whosoever you are working with. So you can see from this, anyone passing can clearly read what is here, right? So I think everything works fine. So maybe on the design, I'm not quite satisfied with the design, so I can decide to just go back and touch one or two things, like some places that are not aligned. You just try to create alignment and balance and everything. I think for the purpose of this tutorial, this is okay. You can work with this. So this is what a mock-up looks like, and this is what a banner looks like inside your mock-up, right? So maybe I'm going to share all the resources, the cars and everything, and the mock-up I used, so you will be able to also replicate the design, and then we also post the submission link where you're going to post your design. And then let me give you this privilege. Maybe when you're working on the design and then you want to like do other stuffs, you want to like change any other thing, you are free to do that. But just make sure you create something like this, or exactly like this. Maybe you feel like I didn't balance some stuffs in the design, and then you want to prove to me that you've understood all we've been doing. So you can decide, or you can go ahead and you play around with the design, and then you have something beautiful. So I guess I don't know if we've taken long. An hour. So I guess this design is already, this tutorial is already long. So